It's Mosley show. I know some shows this time of year, we get very close to Christmas. We'll start taking some time off. That's not us. That's not our style. We're going to continue to produce. And we may go a little lighter. We may not go quite as long as we usually. Sometimes we go 2 hours plus the 1 to 3. We may abbreviate some things, and we'll see. I think our offices are closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but and then we'll figure out what to do on the 26th. We'll tell you, because I kind of want to react to the Cowboys game, but Scotty and I might get kind of creative and be able to either pre-record or we'll get something up for you. All right, on the old YouTube Mosley. Well, even if it's just a little bit shorter than usual, we'll get you something. We'll have something, and then I think we're closing down the offices early January for a few days, so we got to figure out how to best handle all that. But Scotty is going through it today. Got hit by a truck yesterday. Not really, but the truck called influenza. I went to law school. I also spent a little time in medical school. I think Scotty, I took one peek at him earlier. I think it's more like probably a strep. I don't know if I would diagnose this as the actual hardcore flu. I know he probably felt really bad. So I would call this a sinus infection or maybe strep throat, which has been going around to. I would hope Scotty would have taken his flu shot. The flu should not be something he's picking up, 3 or 4 days before Christmas. I know it happens, but I don't know. I am diagnosing this as something else other than the flu. But Scotty, the thing I'm proud of is that a lot of people that I used to work with, there was one guy, and he's in national radio now, that I used to work with, and like he would get like a foot surgery or something, and he'd be like, okay, well, yeah, to get the foot surgery, you probably need to miss a day or two of radio. And somehow he would miss like 2 months. And this seems like it would happen once a year. Oh, he's having the foot surgery now again. And then the other guy I was on with would always say he's in rehab. I don't think he was. I think it was an actual foot surgery, but it would cause him to miss like a month or two of radio. Like, radio is one of those things where illness, I mean, Scotty's with us today, so I'm not going to give Scotty a hard time. But like, I don't ever recall actually being able to call in with radio and go, sorry, like, I can't, I would just take my shots and take my B12, take my steroid shot and try to play through. Now, the worst is when there is no voice. And that occasionally happens to me. Fortunately, not that often. And you either you do throat coat, herbal tea, you take every shot you can find. And then if you truly can't go, you can't go. But it's, anyway, I've played through a lot in life. But Scotty is playing through this today. And I had a look at him earlier, and I'm not gonna make him come back on screen because he does truly look sick. All right. Others, I would say sometimes around the holidays, you'll get people calling in like, suddenly it's like, oh, it's funny. The timing, really? Before the 4th of July break? Oh, before the big 3-4 day weekend or whatever, you got sick? That's interesting timing. With Scotty, the man stayed after it. Now, I don't know what Pete and I have been in touch today, but I didn't ask him about his show, so I'm not sure what they pulled off this morning with Susan. He was traveling, doing some. So anyway, it's going to be hard for me because there are going to be moments during the show that I'm going to want to bounce things off Scotty. And what I wish Scotty would do is be like the disembodied voice, where he could actually sound off without us seeing him. But right now we're going to respect Scotty's illness and hope it could be the flu. I don't know. They have something you take for the flu, like a flu, Tamiflu. Yeah, Tamiflu. And you just knock back a little Tamiflu. And what I don't know is if Scotty's had the wherewithal to get to one of those little, doc shops. I mean, we all have some great doctors, but then we also have those quick places, the emergency type places you run by and see if they can get you through. Nowadays, and I don't know what insurance Scotty's using. Maybe he's using I don't know what he's using, but the old e-visit. That's not a bad option. But without Scotty, I can't even really take time to have my coffee and that kind of thing. But it's okay. Scotty's going to come. We think he's turned the corner, and there is talk of him rolling back tomorrow, rolling back in. And tomorrow, and we hope this all comes together, we're going to do a little bit of a special holiday show. And one of the guys from the Waco Symphony Orchestra, who's a top executive over at Central National Bank, and that would be Brian Fonville. We're hoping to have him in studio. Now, we got a lot of people who are wanting to hear CFP thoughts. We got people going in the portal. Scotty, you'll be happy to know Matt Zenitz, who breaks a lot of this news for On3 and CBS and all that stuff on all this portal news. Matt Zenitz and I have been in touch, and Matt said, like, when it's less crazy, I'll come on with you. And I'm like, when does it get less crazy? And so he has targeted mid-January, so we'll have Matt. But I like that. I like that Matt. I don't really know Matt, so I DM'd him, and the guy's been extremely responsive. I mean, like literally 10 minutes ago, I said, we'll do, is there a non-crazy period? 7 minutes ago, Matt Zenitz, who broke this news earlier today, like the South Florida quarterback going in the and people will say, well, he's going to go to Auburn. He's going to go. Well, they don't always follow their coach because other people get involved and then they start spending money. But that guy put up big numbers for South Florida. I believe his name is Byram Brown, not Byron, but like Byram. That's a cool name, by the way, like BYRUM, I believe it is, Byram Brown. I'd love to have. I mean, Baylor's going to have a lot of targets for that quarterback. Now, the great Spavital watches this show, but the Spavs man, I got to say, has been a little hard to. I think he's keeping it pretty close to the vest. The Clandy man, he loves our show. We've welcomed him in with open arms. The K-State people, Matt Wells, his family, Matt, that's Jen Dirks-Wells, his wife, who was one of the great Kappas of all time back there in Baylor land of the early to mid 90s. Well, she's a little bit younger, so let's give her we'll say late 90s. But man, that crew that's at K-State, man, they've been so great, and they've all kind of helped me kind of get to know, and they know they've said great things about Joe Klanderman. And Joe, when he was on the other day, that's one of the things he brought up was that when he was wanting to talk about Dave Aranda, he reached out to Matt Wells and some others. If you're wondering, Matt Wells was the former Texas Tech head coach, Utah State head coach, and then has been at OU and was the offensive coordinator at Kansas State most recently. Now, Colin Klein has come in there, and Colin's trying to build. I mean, Colin might want to have somebody on that staff that's over like 28 years old. I mean, he's trying to hire right now the A&M defensive coordinator. I mean, that guy's like 29 or something like that. I did notice, I think, because I was wondering if Klanderman was going to bring some of his people. Since we've last talked, Scotty, Baylor hired a D-line coach, and I did have some good talks on that front because so much has happened since we last talked. That might have happened even then, but I was looking at getting him on with us, and Baylor wants to get him on, but of course everybody's in the holidays. I don't even know if he's in town yet. Ja'Cory. Had to think about it for a second. Is Ja'Cory Greer the new Baylor defensive line coach? Comes to the Bears from Coastal Carolina, I believe. And so we're going to get that lined up. And by the way, Ja'Cory's already heard about the Mosley show, so that is fine. I got to sound off today. The Baylor women's basketball. Scotty's putting stuff on the screen. Scotty, can you put that one back up? I like to acknowledge our people who are sounding off on YouTube. Now, Cowboys audience, if you're wanting to get my Cowboys thoughts, okay, we're going to get right there in a second. All right. But I just wanted to see who's responding. Oh, Bobby. I like Bobby. How do we feel about the new D-line coach for the Bears? Okay. I like him. I would say, I can't say that I've just, done a deep dive on this guy yet. I do like the fact that he's got Texas ties. He is, Joe Klanderman has recruited Texas. Earlier today, another Kansas State player just went in the, in fact, let's see, because I tweeted about it. Here it is. Matt Zenitz had this news. Matt Zenitz, who I was just in touch with. Kansas State two-time All Big 12 linebacker Austin Romaine is entering the transfer portal, a source tells CBS Sports. That's Matt Zenitz, who I was just talking about, big believer in the Mosley show. That may be a stretch, but seems to be somewhat supportive of what we do. Austin Romaine entering the transfer portal. Has 162 tackles the last 2 years, including 66 and 7 tackles for loss in 9 games this year. Austin Romaine, remember the name? I think they brought him to town for the Big 12. It says Romaine immediately becomes. Oh, Scotty, can you still play the breaking news sounder from where you are there? There we go. We will not be like 60 Minutes today and just like, oh, guys, we're going to pull the story at the last minute. Whoa, did you see that? Wow. The leader of CBS pulling rank and pulling a story right off of there, right off of 60 Minutes. Goodness gracious, man. I'm telling you, journalism is in an interesting spot in this country when you can fully vet and get ready to go with the deal, and then they just go, no, I don't think we're going to run that today at the last hour. Wow, that's interesting. But you know what? You come here for sports, and I don't want that because some people will be, again, we don't want to get divisive. Mosley's talking politics. No, I'm not. I'm talking journalism. This is an interesting thing that's happened. Romaine immediately becomes one of the top defensive players in the portal. In addition to this year's production, ended last season with, I told you that already. Oh, I think my daughter's just arrived home after being away several days. So that's kind of exciting. I may have her come here on screen and greet her because I've missed her the last 3 days as she went to support the Ags. That's right, the Aggies. Gosh, we've got so much to talk about. Scotty, I know I said we were going to do an abbreviated show. I mean, how do we get to all this? We do need to talk about what happened to Texas A&M in Miami and that game at Cal Field the other day. I'm like a lot of you. I was there for every minute of it. I had a Christmas party Friday night. Now, I was able to go to the Christmas party after watching the first half of Alabama and Oklahoma. And then fortunately they had it on at the party, but it did interrupt some of my watching of that game. I'll tell you what we'll do. In the second half of the show today, we'll do all CFP. And I'll tell you, I think what happened to the Ags, why they couldn't solve let's go. Here's another one. Who's this? Scotty, the Baylor King. Hey, Scotty. Got so many Scotties in my life. Maybe too many. Scotty B, Scotty Swingler, Scotty. I mean, my gosh, there's so many Scotties. No, I like all these Scotties are good. Will Keaton Thomas play? What's this now? Well, I don't know. Do we have? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Don't tell me. Oh no, this was 4 minutes. This is probably means it's about 7 minutes ago after we came on the show. This is so bad. I'm sorry, all our Cowboys people, because I understand. A lot of people come to us for Baylor, and then there's a whole nother group that come to us for Cowboy stuff. I'm gonna get to the Cowboys, I promise. And in fact, I've spent time with Jerry Jones. I asked him some stuff. We got his reaction on a lot of different things. We're going to, I tell you what we'll do. Let's talk about this right now, and let's talk about the CFP stuff. Okay, change the plans. It's the holidays. Who cares? Okay, most people are taking off right now and being with their families, and thank goodness people are watching us during this holiday. I'll talk all the college stuff, including Baylor now, and then in about 10, 15 minutes, we'll finish out the show with a ton of Cowboys. This is yeah, and I appreciate everybody thinking of us when all the breaking news hits, and I'm sure Grayson is reacting to this as well. Max Olson here, longtime ESPN, longtime friend, has announced, says Keaton Thomas, Baylor linebacker Keaton Thomas, has announced he plans to enter the transfer portal. 219 tackles over 2 seasons with the Bears, and will be one of the top linebackers on the market. This is what happens. When you make a decision and you think, oh, we're going to keep this class together and we could keep these guys together. Keaton is incredible. I think the Clandy man, I think Joe Clanderman had him in his office. I think even now, they're still probably trying to hold on to Keaton Thomas. But as we know, when they go in the portal, they rarely come back out into your place. They usually end up somewhere else. And I would imagine Baylor, especially given its extra money, given the fact that they had so many players, so many top flight players leave them in this recruiting class, I would have to say that, this is they made a major attempt to keep Keaton Thomas, and to the point where he's a good enough player that you would have tried to retain him with some serious money. What was Keaton Thomas making last year? If I had to guess, it would be in the, let's see, you can think about it because it came from JUCO, 100 to 300,000 range. All right, and you go, that seems kind of low. Well, again, Keaton Thomas came to Baylor probably on the cheap because they got him from JUCO. He had been at West Virginia, then he had been at JUCO. So, I don't think you were having to pay Keaton Thomas at that point much over, like, really 6 figures to get him. Now, to retain him, to keep a really good player like that, yeah, maybe you would upped it to around like 200,000 a year. Keaton Thomas, for a top flight linebacker on the open market, could absolutely get somewhere between 750,000 and 1.5 million a year. Don't think he could. Don't think he couldn't. As I've told you, those 3 top recruits who left Baylor in that 2026 class, Baylor probably had committed somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1.5 million to those 3 players, or maybe about 1 million. So again, this stinks. This is part of the process, though. If you thought Baylor, the problem is Baylor had so few. Obviously you love Jacob Redding, you love Jackie Marshall, and you love Keaton, and you like LeVar Thornton Jr., and you like a couple of those younger cornerbacks that aren't coming. Trey Turner, they're not coming to mind. There's a Devin Turner and there's a Trey Turner. Anyway, this was always a very much a possibility. And let's remember that, yes, I think these players like Dave, and I think, we heard that the recruiting class and the current players were happy when Baylor retained him. But in this world, we live in a world right now. Let's give you a little context on this. There are pretty good players at Oregon. that won the other night against JMU. That JMU did that backdoor cover, but they won like 52-34. You had those two stink bombs that ESPN was smart enough and ABC to send off to TNT. Here, let's give you two games. And oh, by the way, JMU and Tulane are going to play in these games. And these will be ratings killers because, first of all, the night game, you're going to be up against the NFL. Oh, wait, Fox? The NFL has a good game on late. Chicago and the Packers are playing like a divisional game. Oh man, congrats, TNT. You don't have the NBA anymore, but we're going to hand you these two stink bombs, and both these games are going to be non-competitive. Enjoy yourselves, all right? Because we're going to keep the Alabama-Oklahoma game, and then we're going to keep the Miami A&M game. And even though that was one of the worst games anyone's ever watched in their lives, unless you just love horrible field goal kicking and barely any offense, then that, and again, I watched the entire thing. I didn't miss a single minute of a 10-3 game, which was bad, and then at the end got good. Here come the Ags all the way down. Here are the Ags in the red zone. I mean, I had my beloved daughter up there, right there in the third deck, watching that game, watching, with her friends in the middle of all that action. So anyway, but again, here's the context I was going to give you. Scotty Wolves. I mean, if you think my ADD doesn't kick in like on a daily basis, so imagine what it does during like the Christmas time when we're like the only ones in America doing shows. It's really going to kick in. Here's the context I was going to give you. You think Baylor can keep people? Literally, Oregon is in the college football playoff. And after they won the game the other night, like cornerbacks that have actually been pretty good for them. Now, again, I looked to see if one of these guys played the other night, and the one guy, Sione, was not in that game. Another guy today who's put up decent numbers. Again, these are not like, these guys never played. They were 4 or 5-star guys. They never played at Oregon. These are people who are actually pretty productive at Oregon over the last year. They're jumping in the portal today. These guys, in the last 24 to 48 hours, I've seen 2 defensive backs from Oregon go in the portal. They're in the dang CFP. And we already, watched that happen with another player. We watched it happen with coaches. Let's not kid ourselves. But we usually, with players, they at least sort of wait and maybe get through the college football playoff. We saw it last year with Pribula going in the portal when he was the backup quarterback at Penn State, and they were in the college football playoff. And then one guy went in the portal and joined another, like knew where he was going, but still suited up and played with his previous team. I always admire that. And I appreciate coaches who let them do that, who don't hold it against them. The best at that is Kenny Dillingham, who just signed his deal, by the way, with Arizona State. And at least for now, will not be taking the Michigan job. Now, just because you sign a new deal doesn't mean for sure you're not going to take the other job. But it looks like with Kalen DeBoer and Alabama coming back, Michigan will not be able to get Kalen DeBoer. And it looks like for now they will not have Kenny Dillingham. So Michigan's just out there floating. And then, by the way, that old weird story about a coach in December 2022, sneaking into the football building and trying to hack into other people's accounts and getting into other people's emails and private accounts on his coaching staff, going into his coach's office and whatever he was trying to get access to. And it all sounds untoward. Like, first of all, think about how hard it is to keep up with the Michigan scandals. It's like, okay, the cheating scandal, the Sharon Moore scandal, this guy, the former offensive coordinator. I mean, like, which scandal? They just have a scandal every other day. It's like, well, now which scandal is it at Michigan? And yet they think every coach in the world should quit their job immediately and move to Ann Arbor and go get in bed with this sack of snakes. I mean, these people cannot get out of bed in the morning without a scandal. All right. It's a bad scene, the Michigan Wolverines. But you have that whole thing continuing. Okay, so yeah, the Keaton Thomas news for our Baylor audience. Wow. I mean, it's I've seen, and I've seen players leave that I'm kind of mildly interested in. Like I hated that Phoenix Jackson left just because I kind of wanted to see what he was going to be, and he got hurt and early in the season, and the other guy who had a really bad injury was at the Arizona State game. I think it was Travion Barnes, was that his name? I really wanted to see what he would become because he seemed to be emerging as a leader. We don't know kind of what he's going to do. He's recovering from an injury. The Keaton Thomas, just because he was a great leader, very productive. I would say of all the players on the current roster, and I'm even including offense, I'm just thinking through everybody on the offense, and now I'm going over in my head the entire defensive roster. I would say this is by far the biggest loss so far and the biggest unfortunate development for Baylor. But again, this is how college football works. Like anybody thought that, oh, these guys will stay because Baylor retained Dave Aranda. Not on your life, not in a million years. And I'm sure some people are thinking right now at Kansas State, like, dang it, I thought, Colin Klein coming in and all the excitement over the younger, hipper. Now, hey, that A&M offense put up all of 3 points the other day. And all those shots of Colin Klein, and they couldn't get it in the end zone at the end. And you say, well, it's the quarterback's fault. Okay. Sure would have liked to have seen in those last 30 seconds with those, down there with A&M, maybe think about a quarterback run, maybe on 1st and goal, maybe running the football. You go, Matt, they didn't have any timeouts. Have you ever heard of spiking the ball if you had to? I mean, there are things you could do. There are things they could try that they didn't really seem to have in their arsenal late in that game. They got it all the way down there after a most of the game, a slog of turnovers and just complete mess of an offense. And then they just raced the ball down the field when they had to. And Marcel's making play after play. And guys are making great catches. And guys are coming up clutch. And then they can't do it. They can't get it done. I mean, to me, and again, extremely unfortunate with Keaton Thomas. Now, he could go pro. I don't think he will because I think he knows and he's got representation. I saw the two people they said that were representing him. He knows he can get big money somewhere. When they got ready to play, and Scotty, you'll remember this. And Scotty, by the way, feel free to interrupt me and throw up any breaking news on the screen as it happens. It won't bother me to be interrupted. But when they were getting ready to play Auburn, I remember that's what Hugh Freeze said. This guy, Keaton Thomas, looks like an SEC linebacker. Now, again, before we get too caught up in the SEC, I mean, we saw an OU SEC team shrink the other night. Now, I know it was against another SEC team. We saw the Ags shrink against the ACC. If we're going to talk about the mighty SEC and, oh, how embarrassing the ACC is, and oh my gosh, Duke won their conference and Miami shouldn't even have been there. Notre Dame should have been there over them. Hey, you got to stand up. You got to play. You got a home crowd. You got the greatest home crowd you could ever put together. You got 107,000 screaming Aggies. That should be the toughest place to play in America. And Mario Cristobal goes in there with that little popcorn shrimp offense that he had. And in the end, it was enough. He handed off number 4. They had one thing. They had a running back who was pretty dang good. Beck didn't do anything. They had one kind of nice deep ball, and they had the one guy who fumbled, who makes a play around the corner, Malachi Toney, good return man. But again, that was the Ags. Oh, this. I mean, Scotty's made fun of me this year because I have a daughter that goes there. I have been way more positive than ever toward the Aggies, but that is not representing the conference. There's really no excuse. I don't care if you got a gusty 30-mile-per-hour wind. I think what we should have seen coming more than we did was horrible first half against Mississippi State. Go on the road against Texas and to not put up more of a fight and lose against a great rival, a huge rival, and a team that had not been very good this year. Not good. Third opportunity. We don't count Samford. Third opportunity. Then you go play and you have everything riding on the line and you put up 3 points. Lots to answer for. I mean, again, it doesn't wipe out the great season, but the Ags know what they face now. They face everybody looking at them and going, that was fraudulent. And you go, well, why would they say that? Well, it's because they didn't like all those games other than the road win, which was a great win at Notre Dame. They didn't have to play Georgia. They didn't have to play Alabama. I mean, they go right up and down the road. Like the first 4 or 5 teams in the SEC, they didn't have to play Vandy. They were able to miss so many of the great SEC teams. That's not their fault. They didn't draw up the schedule. They just went and had a great season and played well against the schedule they were given. But their performance against the that Miami team did not look that good. Now, A&M played really well on defense, and they played well in the red zone. And both teams had horrible kickers, and Miami kept missing field goals. And part of that was A&M did block one. Excuse me, that was Miami blocked one, but A&M, they played really good defense. And that Sanford kid is a player. Tarian, I hope Tarian York comes back. Incredible player from Temple, Texas. Great career. Could go pro. Cassius Howell, unbelievable. I think Cassius will turn pro. Unbelievable pass rusher. Regis. I mean, A&M played some really good defense in that game, but the offense to no-show in a game of that magnitude, wow, that is rough. Now, the reason I said all that, let me circle back around to Keaton. Those are the defenses that want Keaton Thomas. A&M would be a good fit. Alabama, Georgia. Like, he's been hugely productive in the Big 12, and there's a lot of places he could go and help them. Arkansas, if it wants to spend some money. You don't think Arkansas will come after him? Auburn, same way. Auburn, Florida. Keaton Thomas is going to be one of the most sought-after linebackers, and so all you can do is go, well, our hats off to the Bears for developing him, giving him the platform, and they couldn't keep him in the end. And that's, I have a hard time putting any of that on the guy who just arrived. He's got no relationship with Keaton Thomas other than the one he just formed in the last few days, in the last couple of weeks. So don't put this on the Clandy, man. Don't put this on Joe Clanderman. I mean, this is a tough look for Dave Aranda because this is one of his guys. Now, that said, it happens to almost every coach, unless you're just the top of the top of the top. I mean, Georgia and Alabama and A&M are the only ones in schools like that, University of Texas, and even at Texas. I just saw a receiver leave I'm like, wait, who's this kid? Like, wait, he had this many catches? He had this many yards? He had this many touchdowns? Somebody, DeAndre Moore, does it sound like a name? I'm just doing that off memory. He wasn't a kid I remembered that much from UT, but apparently he put up really good numbers. He's transferring. He's transferring out of UT. Why would you do that? Why would you leave UT? It's a free agency. It's a market. A team goes, wait a second, this dude put up really, really good numbers against incredible competition and probably had some big numbers against OU. I mean, yeah, why in the world would you not go out and test the waters? It's almost amazing that teams are able to hold on to any of these players when they have that free agency they can go into. So I hate it that Keaton Thomas is leaving Baylor, but I'm going to choose to look at it like the guy gave his all, was part of a really cool turnaround story last year and played his guts out on a really awful defense this year. Had his moments. He had one game where I thought it was the best game of his career, and it was one of the better. There was a game this year where you looked up, and I think he had 17 or 18 tackles. Scotty would remember. Scotty, by the way, if you're wondering why you're not hearing from Scotty or seeing Scotty today, Scotty is playing through the flu. This is his flu game. Now, I can't say that it's Michael Jordan worthy because Michael actually went out and played, but Scotty did show up, and he's running things and from his sick bed. And so the reason we're not showing Scotty is because the man is just kind of he's going through it. He's trying to fight through it as we speak. But good to have him. I appreciate him fighting through this to be with us today on the holiday. All right, let's take care of our partners during this special holiday. Central National Bank. Thank you, Brian Fonville. Thank you for what you guys do, and the incredible instrumentalist, the incredible man from the orchestra. We're going to try to get him in studio tomorrow. And I mean, he could play really any instrument, the piano, the trumpet, if you put him on the sax, he'd be fine. Scotty has been in a band and plays the guitar. And so as long as Scotty is feeling better tomorrow, we're going to try to get him in there strumming on the guitar. I'd like to get him a banjo if possible, but we'll have live music for the Matt Mosley holiday show, holiday extravaganza. This thing will probably be bigger and even more well attended than even like Radio City Music Hall. Okay, there's the Rockettes, and then there's the Mosley show, I think it's obviously the opposite, Mosley show, and then the Rockettes. I've been to that show, by the way, a couple of times. Once when I got engaged, and then we got to take our daughter a couple of years ago. Went to that show when Baylor played Duke. And by the way, Texas Tech just played Duke in that same type game, Madison Square Garden, and MSG and Texas Tech pulled one out. All right, let's talk some Cowboys. Let's do it next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. Don't buy from social media ads unless the ad is from a verified company. When you click those ads, you open yourself up to fraud. If it seems too good to be true, it almost always is.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
It's the Wrap Up the Year sales event at Allen Samuels in Waco. Drive home a new Ram 1500 Lone Star with 0% for 72 months or 3.9 for 72 months. Plus 10% below MSRP and get 2,000 holiday select inventory cash. Need more power? Check out the selection of new Ram 2500s, all backed by our 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain warranty and no payments for 90 days. Hurry to Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Bubble wasn't here, I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers and All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Matt Piffle, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mappiffle.com and start celebrating your story today.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit PropMoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
It is Matt Mosley, special holiday edition. We'll do another one tomorrow. We'll have some live music. We'll have a little fun. We'll try to get Scotty on the guitar. Some Yuletide fun. I think we're actually going to take Christmas Eve off. That's all right with everybody. And then maybe Christmas Day. And then we'll figure out what to do on like the 26th. I haven't thought that far ahead. But we'll come up with something. And we'll have something here for you because you guys have been extremely loyal. We've seen a ton of people sign up lately for the YouTube channel. And we're grateful for that. And a lot of it has been Baylor related with all the craziness and everything going on. And we've been able to react to that, have a lot of the key players and people on And obviously Baylor hiring Doug McNamee as its new athletic director. Hope to have Doug on soon, and that'd be a good holiday. It'd be a good holiday get. Although I kind of want to get him when everybody's back on and in tune and everything like that. So we'll find out the best time to do that. I've been in touch with Doug, and I think he's happy to come on whenever. We'll talk some Cowboys here. I did want to say, Scotty, that was a rough loss. Baylor loses to Texas Tech for the first time since I think it was like 2005. It's like 31 straight games. You know, they had the streak into TCU, and it just happens. These teams have gotten better. Baylor is not obviously as dominant as it used to be. Certainly has had some good players, and they've been ranked. And I think Nikki Collin has done a nice job, and she's plugged in. And like Dunn, they call her Ting Dunn. She was awesome in that game yesterday. I just think, Scotty, and I don't want to get too far into it, but I don't Talia Scott, the Baylor star player from that has put up huge points this year and averaged over 20 points a game, right around 20 points a game. She'd been hurt. That is a highly unusual what Nikki did yesterday. She did not play the entire game, and then with like 2 minutes left in the game, or a minute and a half or whatever, she put her in the game. And she did have 2 assists like in the last couple of minutes of the game. So you can't say she wasn't productive. She put up a shot late, missed it. Tech comes back. Baylor had like a 4-point lead with a minute to go, loses that game 61-60. It was a huge win for the Tech program. I don't know. I just, it's highly unusual to not play somebody the whole game and then to put them in at the end of the game. And maybe the thought is, you couldn't play her and stop her and start her. And so you're ever going to play her, you needed to kind of leave her in there the whole time. We'll have Nikki on and we'll ask about that. It just, wow. It was interesting to say the least, but the work they've done with getting done. I mean, she was a star in that game. I mean, hitting threes, shooting the ball beautifully, 22 points in that game. They ran a play for her. It was a nice play. She went down baseline and had a layup to win the game, and then got the rebound and missed the follow-up. But that really shouldn't be the whole story. I mean, she scored 22 and she put Baylor on her back. I don't know. Belafonte Leroy has just kind of wandered off into I don't know what's going on. I mean, she really hadn't been good this season, and she was 0 for 8 from the field in this game, and she's been a really good defender. She's been a good rebounder. I guess she had 6 rebounds. I mean, you almost can't play her right now. I don't know. I mean, again, you're like, oh, Mosley, don't be mean or something. It's college athletes, man. They're paid now. They get paid. I mean, something's got to happen. It doesn't make any sense. Like Dariana Page Buggs and Belafonte Leroy are 2 of your best players and 2 of the better players in the Big 12. And Bella's just like, in some of these big games this year, has just completely no-showed this thing. And Buggs has had her moments too, has had some rough moments, but she played well and made some shots in that game yesterday. But hey, you can't. I mean, Tech is getting better, and Gerlich has finally kind of gotten them going in the right direction. You can't go out there and just have a no-show from a big time player like that. So again, it's too early to panic, and you'll get Talia Scott back, and she's arguably the best player in the conference. I mean, it'd be like Iowa State trying to play without their big-time player who scores 40. I think she said 4 games this year, Audie Crooks. It'd be like, Iowa State just going, oh, we're not going to have Crooks today. Baylor does not function well without its best player. Okay, that's most teams. But that doesn't excuse. I do not know. Like, I mean, they've got to get Belafonte Leroy going. I don't know what's going on there. And if that's like getting her some easier shots, she's missing every 3. She was 0 for 5 from 3. I mean, there have been times, and she's a little streaky, but there have been times where she's a lethal shooter. So anyway, There you go. There you go. That's a bad. There's no way getting around it. That's a bad loss, and that's a gut punch. And Nikki said it. And Nikki, I thought Nikki was good after the game. I mean, she was physically ill at the thought of losing that game and hearing that team going crazy and all their cheers. And that was a huge moment. I mean, it's time to kind of stop letting these programs that you've been on top of for years and years get up off the mat. Bears have to kind of regroup and then go on a streak. That's fine. I mean, like, nobody will care about that. Nobody will care that much about that loss if you run off 5 or 6 wins. So that's where this thing is right now. Of course, on the heels of just getting blown out of the building against UT and getting beat by like 35 in that game. That's the game Talia got hurt in, only played like 14 minutes in. Okay, that's fine. That's enough about that. Baylor played against Southern. The TNT studio was ripping them at halftime of that game yesterday for not, playing better against Southern. They did what they're supposed to do in the second half. They ran them off the court, beat them by 30 or 40. So let's let them start playing some conference games. And if they look bad in conference, then we'll have some problems. But I would say they at least have 4 or 5 guys that I can trust right now. I have no clue how they'll stack up against. I mean, Tech's good, Houston's good, Arizona's good. BYU's awesome. I mean, right now they're not anywhere near those teams. Now that could change. I mean, they might knock off one of those teams. They're going to get their cracks at them. So, BYU doesn't. I mean, after you get past their top 5, which is incredible, I might add, but they're not. It's not like they have the most depth. Although they just went and signed a G League player like Muhammad somebody. That's nice. Okay, well, this guy's not really doing that well in the G League. He's 6'10". We'll take him. All right, we'll pay for this G League player to come here and play with us here in the second semester. Okay, that's nice. I mean, I wish Baylor could do it. They're going to get some, Eastern European guy or Western European guy, which will be fine. They just desperately need another big, and I'm anxious to see, who that will be, and we'll talk about it in the coming days. All right, I've got some Jerry that we may share a little bit of that with you, but for our Cowboys audience, Cowboys lose this one 34-17. I mean, we did the Doomsday podcast. That's a Rogue Media Network property as well, with Ed Werder and I last night. It's just more of the same. It's 21-17. They moved their defensive coordinator from the field up to the box to call the games. Didn't make a lick of difference. Herbert not only functioned beautifully, deep balls. Quentin Johnston, the old TCU player who'd been a bust as a pick, looked great. Looked like the guy they hoped he would be. He has over 100 yards receiving. Herbert was not even breathed upon. I don't think they had a single sack. They've got no pass rush. The thought that they could scheme this thing up is a joke. I mean, can you imagine Ryan Fowler? They thought with Fowler and Sam Williams and Ezraku, the rookie, and they could just scheme it up. And oh, by the way, they got Quinnen Williams in there, and they had that 3-game streak where it was kind of like, okay, here we go. Jadeveon Clowney, I should also add, in there at defensive end. He's played well at times when healthy, but then they were like, oh, we're gonna form this thing around these 3 really good defensive tackles, all of them which we pay $20 million a year. That's Kenny Clark, it's Osa Odigizua, and it's Quinnen Williams. And we're going to go with a 5-man defensive line. Listen, Herbert, who had been sacked 49 times this year, was just completely comfortable. Had never felt that comfortable in his life. Ends up throwing, again, it doesn't matter. Any opposing quarterback that comes in and plays the Cowboys, just go ahead and give them about a minimum of 275 or 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. And in the second half, you're like, oh, did the Cowboys play better defense? I don't know. Maybe, but maybe the Chargers just got a little bored. Who knows? I mean, the last time that the Cowboys had a shot in that game, it was late in the third quarter. They're trailing the Chargers 24-17. They had at least held the Chargers to field goals. And even after that, they held 27-17 at one point, but it's 24-17. Cowboys driving. And when I say Cowboys driving, they're on the 16-yard line. They've made it to the 16-yard line. So they're in good shape against the Chargers. And I don't blame them. I mean, the season's over. You don't kick a field goal to make it 24-20. You go for it. It's 24-17. It's 4th and inches. You're on the 16. And, what do you have? What are you going to run? You got Javonte Williams. Okay. Big back. He's been pretty effective for you this season. So you got Javonte. The Cowboys don't ever think to establish. They're pretty good at the run, but of course they're trailing all the time, so they don't really do a great job establishing the run. Tell you what we'll do. Let's hand the ball off to Hunter Lipke. Let's give the ball to our fullback. I mean, it's almost just like exactly what the Chargers wanted. I mean, their defensive line, their defensive tackles, that number 93 for them, big, huge defensive lineman. He goes low. He wins at the point of attack. Cowboys can't pick up literally 6 inches. 6 inches to have a chance to go down there and make that game 24-24 and be in the game. Again, in the whole scheme of things, it's better for the Cowboys to have lost. I don't know how in the world you lose to, you got a Christmas Day game coming up in Washington, and then you have the Giants the week after. Two teams are uniquely built to lose football games right now. Washington's down to its 3rd quarterback. The Giants have a rookie quarterback who gets his head knocked off every other week because he doesn't know how to protect himself. He doesn't slide, doesn't get out of bounds. That's a mess. They got beat 16-13 by the Vikings. I mean, J.J. McCarthy, is out now for the Vikings, but they found a way to win that game 16-13. I mean, you just watch some of these games. You see the excitement the Chargers play with. Last night I'm watching the Patriots, young quarterback Drake May, down 24-13, just throwing bombs, come back and take down the Baltimore Ravens. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable. The Bears finding out a way Saturday to go get it done. The Bears, they lose Matt Eberflus as their head coach. He comes to be the Cowboys defensive coordinator. He's been awful here. He was awful as a head coach there. I mean, what's their record? I mean, I think they're sitting there at like 11-3 or something now. Are they 12-3? They're at least like maybe 11-4. I mean, these are the Chicago stinking Bears sitting there competing for a possible, like number 1 seed. Rams got beat the other night with the Seahawks. Seahawks may be the number 1 seed. Chicago Bears hired the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, and they haven't lost in forever. They just win every game. They've won 6 games this year where they're like trailing in the final couple of minutes of the game, at least the 4th quarter. But I think it's like literally like late in the game. Meanwhile, the Cowboys, if they're trailing at the end of the 3 quarters or whatever, they're just done. Like, oh, okay, they're going to lose again. That's what they do. I mean, even the most positive guy in the world, Babe Laufenberg, I saw him put up a stat like that yesterday. At the Cowboys, if they're down going into the 4th quarter, it's like almost, it's they're going to lose the game. They're going to find a way to lose the game. Wow. This is unfortunate what the Cowboys are going through right now. Let's I want to play this, Scotty, if we can, in some stop and start mode. Let's and we're going to end the show a little early today because 1, it's the holidays. 2, my cohort, my partner in crime, is not feeling it today. Is trying to fight through the flu. And, of course, I was diagnosing it earlier. I'm sure he appreciated that. I was trying to diagnose it as something else, but I think it's the flu. I think he's got all the chills and the symptoms that would indicate the flu. All right. I don't want to downgrade it to strep throat. I think the man has the flu. And I saw him. He briefly revealed himself to me before the show started. and he looked like hell. He just did not look like like a man needs to look when he's ready to do. Now people might say, well, Mosley, you do. Well, that's age. Okay. That's not the flu. That's just, I'm a man who, and I wish I could work with Scotty and other people his age that are kind of in the millennial deal. I could work with a whole generation on like how never to get sick. Like I have like tricks of the trade, and I have all this stuff I do to prevent any illnesses from getting me. And I'm a man who's almost 50, all right? Almost 50 years old. And I think that's what I'll do in my next career. I'm going to work with young people on how never to get sick. And I've got a lot of, and of course, I'm knock on wood here. I'll be deathly ill this afternoon. So anyway, Scotty, let's do this though. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's take care of our sponsors real quick. And then I want to do a little bit of Jerry after that. We're gonna hear from Jerry, and then we're gonna call it a day. A little early today, but let's go ahead and take care of C&B. Look at them up there. Look at them up there. The bankers, it's the most creative bankers in the land. And Ascension Providence, the great doctors. You've heard from most of them. My gosh, you know the whole roster by now. We've had on more Ascension Providence doctors than we've had on Baylor athletes over the last few months. And Scotty's done an incredible job on that. I'll tell you what, we're going to let you hear from Jerry Jones. The man tried to apologize, and he looked me in the eye. He looked me in the eye yesterday, and he said something. We're going to share that with you next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
It's the Wrap Up the Year sales event at Allen Samuels in Waco. Drive home a new Ram 1500 Lone Star with 0% for 72 months or 3.9% for 72 months. Plus 10% below MSRP and get $2,000 holiday select inventory cash. Need more power? Check out the selection of new Ram 2500s, all backed by our 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty and no payments for 90 days. Hurry to Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Everybody at EcoLife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops. Made clean, made to clean.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
It is the Mosley Show. And Scotty, I was going to copy a link to you real quick. Scotty Swingler here with me. And I had just sent you something. I'm going to send you a link to the Facebook. But Scotty, don't worry about that. I want to handle this right now. Our friends at Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James, and we'll get to Jerry Jones here in a second. I want to react to some things Jerry said, but they lost just an extremely bright light and a valuable part of their team. It's Brandy Franks was her name, and she was a paralegal and just a huge part of what they did, a dedicated paralegal for nearly 10 years. And thank you, Scotty, for that's Brandy Franks, and just hired handled all kinds of things, estate planning, loan documentation, was incredible with clients, and the entire Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James family. And I was just kind of talking to Craig Cherry, my longtime friend. I saw that Scott James, my great friend, had something to say as well. But they said they're grateful for the time we had with Brandy and the many lives she impacted through her kindness and commitment. And I just right now, this seems unexpected because they're reacting, and I think in the wording of it was with profound sadness and disbelief, and so just thinking of that, they've been such great partners, and they were with me when I was at radio, and they're just great guys. It's a great law firm, and I mean, it's unbelievable what they've accomplished, but you can't do that without amazing people being involved, and people that probably behind the scenes that prepare and do a lot of the work. And Brandy Franks, really sad on that front, especially here around the holidays. But we're thinking of you guys at Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James, and just wanted to say that. So Scotty, thank you very much. I had just sent something to Scotty, and I appreciate you on that. So it is time. We are going to hear a little bit from Jerry Jones. I spent time with Jerry after the game, unlike almost any owner, and Jerry knew this was the last time he was going to have most of the media there. Most of the media will not try to go to the Christmas Day game in Washington. Same for the following week as they play the Giants. These are three teams going nowhere. The Eagles, the only team going to the playoffs, and it's the first time since, you got to go way back to the time when the Eagles were winning division titles in the, with Donovan McNabb, like around 2003 or 2004. For years and years, you never got the same two teams. They wouldn't win back-to-back NFC East titles. The Eagles have now done that, and now the Cowboys will face Washington and the Giants in meaningless games. Yesterday, the questions came about Eberflus, about the defense, about where this thing was headed. And in particular was the fact that the Cowboys, before that game, and this was Saturday night, it became clear that this would be the 30th. They would go 30 straight years without playing in an NFC title game. And the last Super Bowl, obviously, was the 95 season. So that would have been in 96 when they played in that Super Bowl. And, at that time, you won 3 Super Bowls in 4 seasons. And you just kind of thought with Aikman and Irvin and Emmett and the triplet still in place that it might just go on forever. And who knew that it would just come to a halt, and that there are 30-year-old people now that have never seen it. I mean, Scotty is now tracking towards 34, I think. And so he might have some tiny memory of the Cowboys playing in that Super Bowl as he tracks toward 34. Probably has a hard time, though, with that. Although knowing his family, they were all watching it. So maybe he's seen so many highlights of those Super Bowls, he thinks he saw it. But he probably does. He probably has some memory of that. But, and Scotty, by the way, if you're wondering why Scotty's not popping on, Scotty has the flu today and he's fighting that. And so we're going to end the show, especially that and the holidays. We'll peace out a little bit early today. But Jerry Jones was answering for that. And, it's the good thing and the bad thing about Jerry. The good thing is he knows he's the GM and he's the owner and he needs to be accountable. And most owners I've dealt with, I knew Jeff Lurie of the Eagles. I knew Dan Snyder when he was the owner of the what used to be called the Redskins. And I've talked to John Mara and Steve Tisch and that gang before, but I actually knew Lurie and even Snyder a little better. Now, not anywhere near, because I've been covering Jerry forever. But those people are available once or twice a year. Jerry is available almost all the time. So in one case, kind of like Cuban used to be, Mark Cuban, on one case, it's nice that they're available. It's nice that they're accessible. But then again, he can't, because he operates as the GM, those other people, at least hired people. Now, they got a lot of their hires wrong over the years, but Jeffrey Lurie got this last one right with Howie Roseman, who's now been the GM there for, I don't know, going on like 10 years, 10 to 15 years. And that guy will be in the Hall of Fame someday. Jerry's already in the Hall of Fame. But it's not really as the GM. It's about like what he did for the league. It's about being an owner. And as Jerry knows as well as anybody, he'll never get the credit that he thinks he deserved for those 3 Super Bowls. Jimmy will get the lion's share of the credit because, the thought is that he was really the architect of the Herschel Walker trade. And that kills Jerry, even to this day. That's one of the things that drives Jerry. And so people will be like, well, Jerry's 83 now. Surely he doesn't have a lot of years left to do this. You haven't met the man. I have a sense that Jerry at age 93, 10 years from now, will still be outside those locker rooms having the same conversations. And I wish I could say, well, Jerry, he's still the same. He's still the same. Now he's acknowledging how bad it is and like, what it must be like for fans. But again, he's not willing to change. He'll fire people. He'll fire Matt Eberflus, but the structure of the Cowboys will never change until Jerry's gone. And as I fully expect him to live to 100, if not past that. I do. And has it been clean living? I wouldn't go that far, but I do think there's something to being active and having an active mind and being driven and being in business and never retiring. I mean, I think that does carry people and drive people. And that is, and Jerry Jones is still getting it done to this day. Let's take though, I want to listen in. This is Jerry Jones after the game. And I want to let you hear a little bit of this, and then we'll jump in and respond to a couple of these things.
What's your level of disappointment to end the home season this way?
Well, I'm disappointed for the obvious. I'm disappointed for all these fans that count on us to have a better ending at the not only for the home season, for the season. So that's just a reminder of candidly how it feels when you don't get it done. I thought we had a tale of two halves. The offense looked outstanding today in the first half, and defense played well in the second half. We just couldn't get them together out there.
Did Eberflus going to the box make much of a difference for you?
Did what?
Eberflus going to the box, how much difference do you think that made?
Well, I thought, in the first half we could have played much better defense, not to be trite. But the second half, I thought we played pretty good defense. And we just completely not got away, but we just weren't able to continue what we were doing on offense first half. But I thought it worked good in the second half.
Can you take anything positive out of this season now that you're out of the playoffs? I mean, second year in a row missing the playoffs. Now that the so-called drought is now 30 years. And
yeah. You have to dissect it, and you have to go hunting for the good things, and you should really, when you have great years, you should hunt up the bad things. The thing about the game, about most of what we all do, is that there are good things and there are negative things, and on times like this, you have to dwell on the good things, and you can look for them. They're out there. But you can't dwell on them because obviously we didn't get it done to not be sitting here getting in the playoffs.
Jerry, do you feel like this team underachieved this year?
Yes, from what we expected, what we thought, absolutely, it did. We all underachieved, really, and the fact we're not in the playoffs says that for you. But I thought we've done some things out there that, frankly, we can carry forward to us with us. It's always the case that there's some positive things. The question is, can we make some changes where we need to? That's be pretty thorough and multiple, a lot of multiplication there with the way we played this year. But still, there are positive things. There always are, and that's one of the things about going in a coaches meeting and looking at film. If you don't look out, you'll see positive things when you really should be more critical to the negative. And I think you have to do that to play the game, be involved in the game.
What are your greatest areas of concern, Larry?
Well, I like the way Dak played today. I'm disappointed that we made some of the mistakes in the second half, but I particularly was pleased with what we have in Dak. I'm pleased going forward. Nothing part of what we've done so far this season gives me anything but optimism about going forward at one of the key, if not the key position, quarterback.
You brought up Dak and how disappointing it is for Dak to play healthy for much of the season, play this way, and you guys not being in the playoffs, really be out of the playoffs with 3 games to go.
Well, that's a good way to look at things is when you've got good play, and we had some, for instance, I'll bet when we graded, I'll bet Tyler Smith really played well at left tackle out there, which is pretty impressive when you have your first game out there. So, again, you can always find things that you're proud of. I know that for our fans and for all of us, we need more success in winning these ball games.
All right, stop it for a minute, please.
Excuse me.
All right. I mean, and by the way, you see Ed Werder kind of he's looking at me back there. I was behind Clarence in my sunglasses, of course. And we're just looking at each other because one thing is Clarence said the so-called drought. Well, it's not a so-called drought. It's 30 years without going to NFC title game. Does anybody else have anything that rivals that in the NFC? No. You're the only team. I think the AFC, there may be a couple teams, perhaps the Browns are involved, but that is something the old Cowboys have all to themselves in the NFC. And I think one of the most disturbing things to fans and everything is just that while he'll acknowledge, yes, we underachieved. Yes, we're not getting it done with Dak. He turns it almost immediately like you've got to look at the positives. And then he speaks in circles and says you need to dwell on them, but then you can't dwell on them. Which one is it? I mean, he's all over the map, but he always comes back to there's positives and there's a lot to be optimistic about. And really what he's optimistic about is he thinks he had a great season from his quarterback. And the numbers will bear that out. I mean, they had the running back had over 1,000 yards. They had 2,000-yard receivers. But again, that's more of a damning thing than anything. Think about that. They're 6-8-1 and probably going to finish under 500 or at 500. They're not even close to being in the playoffs. and yet they had that good of an offense. I mean, and really when they had to have it in a had to have it game, I mean, against in that game at Detroit, did they get it done? No. I mean, it's like you look at some of these games this year when the opposing teams came in, and we're talking about bad teams. I mean, you got completely outclassed by Arizona. So if you look at the totality of the numbers, you'd go, oh my gosh, Dak had a great year. Oh, for part of this year, Dak was part of the MVP consideration. I mean, that was happening literally only 2 or 3 weeks ago. But what they did is they were in the tank. They got out of the tank briefly, and they went back in the tank. And then by next year, we'll all convince ourselves, oh my gosh, this is a team to watch. Oh, the Cowboys could be good. It's one of the least, it's one of the most untrustworthy organizations in all of professional sports, because it's just built on bells and whistles. There's rarely any foundation to it. It's nice to have a good quarterback. Oh my gosh, they added another receiver. Oh my goodness, look, they traded for another defensive tackle. There are like bells and whistles and nice shiny things that show up, but it's not sustainable and it's not built on anything. You see teams over these last few years, whether it be the Lions, whether it be, I mean, heck, now it looks like Jacksonville's good. I mean, who in the world would have thought that? Looks like the Broncos. And by the way, Broncos had a tough loss yesterday, but still, looks like the Broncos perhaps are built to last with great young quarterback. The Cowboys have now been in this world of great quarterback, but can't do anything with it. And again, you can only, in these last 30 years that we're talking about, as now this drought becomes official, there have only been a few close calls to getting in NFC title games. If you think about it, I mean, they were great in 2007, and they did the Cabo thing, and the Giants got hot. The Giants beat them, and the Cowboys couldn't score at the end of that game. There was a drive right before the half in that game. Cowboys were in control of that game. 2007, a team that made it, number one seed in all of the NFL, and then gets beat at home by the Giants in a divisional game. That was a team that should have gone to an NFC title game. They were stacked. Romo was playing great. He was young, but of course they thought, oh, we'll have so many more shots at this. And then they had the infamous game where Jason Garrett was coaching, and the Dez, did he drop it? Did he? I mean, Aaron Rodgers, by the way, would have had time to come back down the field. It's not like that totally would have ended it right there. It was a great catch, and it was a disputed call. And if they win that game, they would have gone to the NFC title game. So you really can only think of, they had a divisional playoff game out there in LA, but I didn't think with the Rams and that team with Goff, when Goff was there, that team made the Super Bowl, didn't it? I was out there for that. I mean, but they didn't come that close in that game. They were outclassed in that game. So I'm sitting here thinking of literally 2 close calls in that 30-year period. They were not good in any of those last Aikman years. They were not. They went to the playoffs one year in 2003 with Quincy. They were not. That was with Parcells. They lost that playoff game, Parcells' last year, which would have been 2006. So really, there have only been 2 close calls in 30 years. And so this delusion of trying to act like we were there, we were knocking on the door, is just kind of crazy. It's disturbing that Jerry keeps coming back to. We got to look at these positives. We got to look how good we are. Look at McCarthy. We had 3 straight 12-win seasons. Look at how good we were. In none of those McCarthy seasons did they had the one playoff game against the Niners, and they get the Niners at home, and they couldn't even figure out how to get a playoff. in how to handle the end of that season. That would have been the 2021 season. Then another game out there. So you got to a point where you couldn't get past the 49ers. You certainly couldn't get past the Packers at home. That was another team that people thought might have a chance to do something, and just flatline in a home playoff game. Under McCarthy, just years and years of disappointment. And I think this time of year, the holidays, and as the playoffs come back, this stuff just comes flooding back. And the one constant in all of this is the guy we're hearing from right now. Let's hear just a little bit more from Jerry, and then we'll call it a day.
Play today.
I without looking at it, I wouldn't know when he was in or out of coverage, but I thought he played with a lot of really awareness, and so I thought he played well. He played against some good competition. That's a good quarterback out there. So basically, from what I can see, and it's real hard to tell sometimes when it looks like that you didn't do a good job covering, but obviously people go uncovered. But still, I was glad to see him back out there.
Jerry, when you're mathematically eliminated,
Excuse me?
When you're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, what's the benefit in still playing your starters, still having guys out there, and not just saying we don't want to risk injury to players like that person?
Well, I think that we've got to remember that we've got a lot of people that want to watch us play good football, and a lot of fans. And consequently, I felt strongly about tonight playing all of our key players, and feel strongly about it as we go forward. The only time I've ever questioned not playing a good player was the immediacy of if you've got you're in the playoffs automatically, and you don't want to have a player nicked up as you get to the playoffs in a 2 or 3 week period of time. I'm not. I don't would hope to be aware enough to know if you're playing somebody this year, you won't have him for next year. That's pretty far out.
You brought up Tyler Smith at left tackle. Is he an option for left tackle next year in the future?
Well, no, but he's there as a tackle. We've had the great experience of moving Larry Allen out there, and he makes All-Pro. But we've always thought that Tyler Smith could be a great left tackle. But that's not to say that we don't think that we've got a good chance with Guyton of having our left tackle there, and I don't want to imply that at all.
How alarming is your consistent inability to rush the passer? And this guy, Herbert's a great player, but he's been hit, he's been pressured, and sacked more than any quarterback in football, and you got nothing.
Yeah, I was disappointed, very disappointed today, and a great question. We came in really planning to get pressure, and didn't. It obviously was a disappointment not to have Quentin out there, but we got some good play from 95. I had my own a lot during the ball game, so. But it was disappointing not to have more pressure on him. He's pretty obvious on our evaluation of his past games that when you pressure him more, he has less production. So that was a shortcoming of us today. We couldn't get pressure.
Hey, Jerry, as you stand here with 2 games to go, how difficult is the decision you face regarding Matt Eberflus and whether to bring him back or not?
Well, I don't know that, relatively speaking, I might not couch it as difficult. It's certainly something that we have to do, and that is look at the entire year and look at what our options are and how to correct not being here at the same time next year. So now that's not uncommon to evaluate at this time of the year your entire coaching staff. And obviously the target's on him because of our statistical as well as actual play on the defensive side of the ball. But that goes with it. That's the life that the guys have chosen, and they know that you're under the gun almost every game, much less for a full season as a coach. That goes with the profession.
Within that evaluation, how do you evaluate the job you do in the front office in terms of giving him talent to work with?
Well, I think that's to be good, and the very fact that ultimately, you point your finger right back at you on who hired Matt Eberflus. So my point is, the whole thing is real easy to sit here and say that you could have done things differently. But that goes with the territory. And anytime you ultimately make the ultimate decision, then you've got to look at that and weigh it.
Jerry, when you look back at it now, Parsons' trade, did it have more of a negative impact on the defense than you thought it would?
I'd like to think that with where we are, I'm not so sure that one position, one player would have had us in necessarily a different situation, and so. But that's a fair look as to would we have been maybe at a higher level. What did we finish the year before with Parsons?
7-10.
No, I'm talking about. I've forgotten what we were ranked on defense the year before with Parsons. With Parsons, and we had a lot of games we didn't have Parsons, so he shouldn't be held responsible for those games that he didn't play, in my view. But we'll take all that in consideration.
All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Of course, we didn't have.
Now the so-called drought.
I like that Ed was back there, helping out. Jerry, you were this ranked. You were ranked this. Ed's like the kid at school who's raising his hand. Call him me. He's like trying to answer all the questions. Jerry's like, how were we last year? Jerry's kind of being cocky when he said that. Like Micah did. We weren't that great last year. And the truth is, Micah missed a few games, and when he was out, they were horrific. And when he came back, they were a lot better. So this thought that, one player won't make a difference and all that kind of stuff. I don't. Eberflus deserves to get fired, but they handed him a big bag of nothing. They traded the team's arguably the best player and obviously the best defensive player the week before the season. And said, here's Shoddy. Go out and Eberflus, welcome to Dallas. I know you've been thinking about what you might do with Micah Parsons, the best pass rusher in the league. But just go out there and just try to do this with nothing. Try to go out there and see if you can get this done. We got you Kenny Clark, though. Kenny's about 30, and he's a good guy. He's been around, and we think you'll enjoy him. And so that was how that went. But wow, what a time. And just the last word on that A&M game the other day. It's a rough way. For that team and that, I think you can't help. It maybe it's unfair, but when you have, I think, and I don't know, I think about it now. I look back, there's an old Baylor thing that comes to mind. And when Philip Montgomery got the Tulsa job in 2014, he went on and started doing that job. And against Michigan State, Kendall Bryles called the offense in that game. And Art had really leaned on Philip before that, and they lost that game. Now, they put up a lot of offense and had a lot of fun in that game and then lost it late. I think part of me thinks that when a guy takes another job, big time job, you let him move on, because fair or not, that's not a good look on Colin Klein. He takes the Kansas State job. He's trying to balance both, and I'm sure he did it to the best of his ability. And I'm sure everybody hopefully will still love and respect him at A&M. And he had a good season. He had a good old season. But, what a mess that was against Texas. What a mess that was against Miami. And they had the camera on him the whole time. And Marcel just wasn't good in those games. 2 crushing interceptions. There was another interception in that game. Marcel threw for, I just looked a second ago, he threw for 237 yards. It's not like they didn't move the ball in that game. Neither team had a kicker. Now, Bond finally went out there and made a field goal. The holder didn't get the laces right, and he still was able to bomb that one in despite all that wind. But Marcel, really, for the last month of the season, wasn't right. Now, who's that on? Well, it's on Marcel. It's on Colin Klein. It's on everybody. It's on all the Aggies. It's not just him, by the way. So Colin Klein's trying to manage, okay, I'm going to be two different places. I'm going to manage this game. And, oh, by the way, Le'Veon Moss is back. All right, well, we've been pretty great without him at times, but I understand it. He's an NFL quality caliber type back. Let's get Le'Veon Moss back in. Run him. Well, I don't know. Is that what you do? The guy's been out for since October 15th or October 13th or whatever. Is that what you do? Throw him right back in and let him be the starting back? And you got Ruben and you got Morrow and you got E.J. Smith and you got everybody who's been playing and been playing pretty well for you, I might add. I don't know. I think there's a lot of second guessing that can happen. But I think what Elko is most disappointed in, and Elko's he's got to wear this too. But I think what bothered him the most is they got bullied at the line of scrimmage. And Miami, in the end, kind of lined up and ran on them. And they had one good back. They had number 4, and he got loose on a couple of good throws. And then on offense, not really being able to sustain things, the poor quarterback play, the inconsistency in the passing game, and then on defense, I think guys were tired. Now, Samford, Cassius, 13, 17, the defensive tackles, Tarian made a couple of really good plays. Man, they covered. I mean, those guys, the defense played fine. It's hard for me to fault. Yeah, did they wear down at times? Yeah. Did they give up some big plays? Sure. But my gosh, they held them to 3 points for the entire game until it got down to like 2 minutes left. All right. Can't really blame the defense too much. And then the offense just goes racing right down the field. You get them down there within the 10-yard line. You got a minute left, and you're down there like first and goal. I mean, I think you're first and goal with like 30-something seconds left. Everything's fine. And I'm just trying to think of some of those play calls there at the end. I mean, the throw Marcel makes. Now, they didn't have timeouts left. What you would love is to have the quarterback run option, because early in the game, that was the thing that was hurting Miami the most. A&M kept getting first down, running Marcel. Now, as the game went on, they kind of shored that up, and I think Marcel Reed ended up with like 15 carries for 27 yards. Of course, some of that he was getting sacked or getting stopped right near the line of scrimmage. I think probably with the ability, when you're first and goal and you get down there, I'm just trying to think with some of those throws, what happened down there at the end. I mean, you get one, is that Craver back there in the end of in the end zone? So second and goal, then that's a third and goal play, and you're trying to thread the needle to a tight end. You certainly did it against Notre Dame. And to be that far behind him on the throw, it's a killer. And that guy had a great season, and I think every Aggie should love Marcel Reed. But that was poor quarterback play, really, for a lot. And of course, they came back and had that great comeback against Mississippi State. But as bad as that thing was in the first half, they probably should have paid. I mean, that really was not a great month of football. And I think the thought was they had been so good and so electric, and they had that unbelievable comeback against Mississippi State, that they would be able to flip the switch and be good against Miami, and they just weren't. And you can blame the wind, maybe Miami has a good defense. That Bain guy is a good player, but you can't go out there and score 3 points if you're that good of a team, and the Aggies were throughout the whole season. All right, just some final thoughts on that front. Whoa, we had a lot to get to today. And I'm Scotty, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, Central National Bank. Let's take care of the landing right now. Thank you, Brazos Landing, the Bang Bang Shrimp, the unbelievable apps, all the things they bring to the table. Appreciate Scotty playing through some pain today, working through the flu. A lot of you out there sick this time of year. Well, we appreciate everybody who's been a part of this. We had a lot to react to do with the CFP at the Cowboys. We'll have more. We got Eberflus. I mean, Jerry's not going to do it during the season, but I would imagine the Eberflus firing will happen within about 3-4 days of the season, and then the search will continue. They won't want to leave him hanging out there for too long. And then I think you can, it's all the people you would think. It's the guy from Cleveland, Jim Schwartz. It's Brian Flores, the defense coordinator at the Vikings. I mean, you start thinking anybody you can come up with, yes, they will be on the list. And that was one of the things I was questioning Jerry about is, Jerry, how hard of a look have you started taking at these defensive coordinators? And Jerry looked at me and said, we will have everything you can imagine at our disposal. Every stat, every analytic, everything. But I do think it was funny. There was somebody that follows me on Twitter, and Ed, and they asked Grok, which is like an AI, obviously platform or app. And they said, Grok, who would be, what the Cowboys are wanting to do, who would be good fits? And just in that split second, AI came up with like 3 people who would be perfect with like the Cowboys personnel and what they're hoping to do. So I find it interesting that now we live in a world where AI can give you probably all the great candidates that Jerry's talking about, having computers and people and everybody he can turn to. But anyway, but the names that came up were every name that should be coming up right now. And then there's the man who is constantly lobbying for that job, and that is the big man from ESPN. That is Rex Ryan, and he spends a lot of his time, lobbying for the Cowboys defense coordinator position. And again, I don't think Jerry will go that direction, but this will be the 4th defensive coordinator in as many years. All right, we needed to get to a lot. I appreciate everybody. Thank you, Scotty. And man, sad, tough news with Keaton Thomas leaving Baylor. We had that news earlier today. He is going in the portal, and that doesn't mean Baylor's going to stop trying to keep him. But one thing it does mean is that Baylor knows, listen, it needs to do a ton of stuff in the portal. And when you need to do that much in the portal, whatever it would cost to keep a top flight linebacker, which might be as much as like $1 to $2 million, it's not happening. I'm sorry. It's not happening. With this team and needing to throw all these haymakers and needing to put a team together in the portal and maybe bring in a lot of these K-State kids, hopefully Joe Klanderman can put together as much as you want to keep Keaton Thomas. If he can get $1 million or $1.5 million out there, what you say is, thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Thank you for what you did here on the Baylor campus. We will always appreciate it. And I will never say an unkind word about Keaton Thomas, because that dude was a really good player and an inspirational leader for the Bears after kind of being a journeyman. So Baylor was good for him. He was good for Baylor. And that's what you hope. That's what you hope happens in this wild world of college football. Scotty, tomorrow, remind me, the guy that some people thought should have been the Baylor athletic director, Jeremiah Dickey, came up with a very interesting plan for how to help college football. And boy, it makes a ton of sense. He is now the AD at Boise State. Very, very interesting stuff there. All right. Glad, Scotty, I was able to get you out so early today. Merry Christmas to everybody. We'll do one more show tomorrow, and then we'll take a little bit of a break for the holidays. We'll see you tomorrow at 1:00.